Well, hello and welcome. This is our first gathering with parents of the newly accepted class of 2027. My name is John Moyler, and I am the Director of Admissions here at Marquette High. I graduated from Marquette back in 2000, and I am thrilled to be able to promote our faith-based college prep education to future generations of students and parents. I will serve as the MC for tonight's webinar. You will get to hear from Father Mike Marco, our school president, and Mr. Jeff Monday, our school principal. They will share some comments on the value of Jesuit education and our exceptional learning environment. Then we will take some time to answer your questions. We will start with some general questions that I have already heard from parents, and you can utilize the Q&A feature on your screen to submit questions during our time together. If we don't get to your question tonight, then I will be able to follow up with you later. At this time, I am going to turn it over to Father Marco to lead us in a prayer and share some of his reflection on the value of a Marquette High education.
Thanks, John, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. I hope our conversation this evening is helpful to you as you consider and continue to consider Marquette High for your sons. I'm excited to answer any of your questions, and hopefully it'll be a fruitful evening. So before I share a brief reflection, we'd like to start this evening with a prayer. So let's just quiet our hearts as we come to the end of this day, which no doubt has been busy for many of us, to recall that we gather in the presence of a loving and faithful God. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Good and gracious God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to be together. We ask that you send your Spirit to bless our gathering. We pray in a special way tonight for the young men in the graduating class of 2027. May this evening be for them informative. May it be an opportunity for them to continue to discern what is the best high school for them as they look for the next journey in their life. We ask that you keep us mindful of your love for us, that we might share that love courageously with our world. And may we always be mindful of those less fortunate than ourselves. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. A few brief comments from me, and again, welcome. I've been asked to talk about or share a brief reflection about kind of the benefits of a Marquette High, a Jesuit education. And I'm going to be fully transparent at the beginning. I'm clearly not the least bit objective when I talk about Jesuit education and the value of a Jesuit education and the value of Marquette High education. I've been back to the school now for 10 years, and I love this institution, and I believe what we do for the young men entrusted to our care really does wonderful things. If you ask people sort of on the street what Jesuits would be noted for, and I think especially here in the United States, people would say education, that Jesuits and Jesuit educators are known for that the educational experience, whether it's at the high school level or the university level, I think Jesuits and education go hand in hand. And I believe at Marquette High, that is also true. And one of the hallmarks of a Jesuit education, of a Marquette High education, is what Jesuits like to refer as cura personalis, the care for the person. And by that, we mean the care for the whole person. So yes, academics are an important thing. And I think what we do academically is second to none. But it goes beyond academics, and it goes to the care for the whole person, where we hope our young men grow spiritually, emotionally, socially. That entire package is a priority for us. And I think by and large, we do a really good job here. We have a document, if you will, that we share with the boys and our families called the Graduate at Graduation, the Grad at Grad, where we really emphasize 5 characteristics that we hope to instill in our young men as they spend their 4 years at Marquette High. And certainly it's academic excellence. We want our young men to be academically prepared, but we also want them to be religious, loving, open to growth, and committed to justice. Religious doesn't mean this pious sort of thing, but a really questioning and trying to discover their own relationship with God in their own faith, and how do they grow in that. We want them to be loving young men and to bring love to the world, which obviously is critically important. We want them to be open to growth, to challenge themselves, to do sort of new things and things that maybe they didn't think they had the skill set or whatever, but to really challenge themselves and push themselves to step outside of their comfort zone. And then to be committed to doing justice. And that's critical in our world today, that they know when they leave Marquette High that they can be agents of change, that they can bring justice to our world and not just be spectators to what's going on in the world. Those are really important things to us. And I think that's a hallmark of what a Marquette High education provides for our young men. And then maybe lastly, and I'm sure this will come up again, and I'm certainly willing to answer any questions you might have, but the young men, when they leave Marquette High, they are incredibly well prepared. They're incredibly well prepared for the next stage of their life's journey. Most of our young men go on to four-year colleges, not all, but most of them. And even if they don't, they're well prepared for that next challenge which they face in their young lives. We are incredibly proud of what our graduates achieve at higher education and then beyond in their own professional lives. So again, I'll circle back to what I said initially. I'm not the least bit objective, and I realize that, but I think I speak with confidence in what Marquette High provides to the young men who grace our hallways. So with that, I'll end for now, and certainly be willing to answer any questions that may surface as we go through the evening. So thank you.
Thank you, Father Marco. Now I would like to introduce our principal, Mr. Jeff Monday. Jeff, when we talk about Marquette High School, we often talk in terms of faith, scholarship, and community. So could you provide some highlights on what a Marquette High education means for developing faith, scholarship, and community?
I would love to. First, I'd like to welcome everyone to this webinar. It's a busy time of year, and we just really appreciate you spending part of this evening with us as you continue to learn more about Marquette High and the incredible opportunities that it offers your sons as they experience 4 years here at a Catholic Jesuit institution such as MUHS. What distinguishes Marquette High is, as you mentioned, John, faith, scholarship, and community. And Father Marco alluded to some of the aspects that students experience in developing their faith lives, certainly developing their intellect, and then as well forming a true community, and as our students refer to it, a brotherhood that lasts a lifetime for our students. As a faith-based institution, a Catholic Jesuit school, we see our mission really in helping the boys form a personal relationship with God. And as we know and see from other Jesuit institutions, our focus is to form Christ-like men for others who are willing to go out into the world and truly make a difference, to use their gifts and making a difference for others. We form young men to be men of deep faith, of personal integrity, a commitment to service, a commitment to making change. And I believe that we do an excellent job in all of these things. Our young alums state often how much they value a Marquette High education, not only for the academics, but as well for what they were formed, as they were formed as young men who are able to go out and make a difference in their respective communities. We do that in a number of different ways. We just to give you a sense of what life is like at Marquette High, every day begins in prayer. In addition to the prayer that occurs in the morning every day, we pause in the middle of every afternoon for an examen, an opportunity for us to stop the business that is a part of our day, to pause and reflect on where we are in that day and where we experience God through one another, as well as through the different encounters that we have here at the school. We have liturgies that are an important piece of who we are. Every day, students have the opportunity to attend liturgies. Parents as well are invited to to attend our morning liturgies. On Thursdays during the school day, we have liturgies that are optional to students, and we have every Thursday an opportunity to pack the chapel with students to participate in a mass that is very centered on where our students are. It's really speaking to our young men in their own faith journeys. We have a vibrant retreat program. It begins in freshman year. In fact, in a few weeks now, we have our freshman retreat for the class of 26. And it's a way for our students to grow in community, to understand their own faith journeys and how they may support one another as brothers here at Marquette High. And we continue the retreat program in sophomore and senior year. The culminating retreat experience is our Kairos retreat, something that students, alumni look back at as one of their fondest memories and maybe most transformational moments in their experiences here at the school. Service is an integral part of Jesuit education. We have service that is embedded in all 4 years of the Marquette High experience. So your sons will experience service, and they'll have an opportunity to not only share their gifts with others, but they'll learn from others and learn how they might make a difference for people's lives. We have an excellent theology program. It includes a number of different courses for each of the 4 years while in high school. And those theology courses really connect well with the students where they are in their development. The second area, as you mentioned, John, is in the area of scholarship. And I would suggest that Marquette High offers an outstanding college prep education to our young men, but does so in a caring environment. Our teachers are really centered on caring for the individuals that are in front of them and reaching every young man and working with them to help them reach their own personal potentials. Each student here at the school has an academic advisor, and the student in sophomore year actually chooses his academic advisor. That's an important choice because students during their 4 years will meet with their academic advisors 2 times every quarter, at least 2 times every quarter. In freshman year, the students begin with their academic advisor as well as with a big brother, a senior, who has been offered this leadership opportunity to work with your sons. And our focus there is to see that your sons are really transitioning well from middle school to high school. Your sons' advisors are there to help them academically, as well as to manage the social experiences here in the school. Father Marco mentioned that our students are well prepared for colleges and universities all across the United States, and they graduate with a number of scholarships that fund their 4 years. In fact, we had in the class of 2022 a record level of scholarships earned by our students. We have a number of advanced placement courses, a number of dual credit courses where students are earning high school credit alongside college credit. And we have a couple of programs through Marquette University and St. Louis University, another Jesuit institution. In addition to all of the different classes that are offered, and you'll learn more about the classes, the courses that students are enrolled in, we have an approach to education where we want to see that we are meeting students where they are academically. When we're speaking of the academic realm, we want to see that students are supported in their academics. And no doubt, over the last several years, there have been challenges in learning, and the pandemic has hit learning, and we've seen learning loss in students' lives. So we want, as best we can, to see that we're supporting students as they develop intellectually and academically. We have an academic success center. It's a place for students to go to get extra assistance and support. Just in the last couple of years, we've been able to hire additional faculty members that work with freshmen and sophomores in academic support. And then our juniors and seniors, we provide academic coaching. Again, the emphasis here is to see that every young man is reaching his academic potential in the school. We also have been noted throughout the country as one of the highest performing schools in the country. You may know that last year we earned the distinction of being a national blue ribbon school in the category of high performing school, the only high school in the state of Wisconsin, and are really proud of that designation. It is a result of the great work of our faculty and staff, as well as the great work of our students. The final area that I just want to speak to is that of community. I mentioned before that students really experience a brotherhood here. We are a diverse school. Students are diverse in terms of geography, religious backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, racial backgrounds. Our students, as a student body, represent over 160 different grade schools throughout the 5 counties outside of Milwaukee and inside of Milwaukee. And that is a source of pride for them. Marquette High is a destination high school, a place that students come to learn, but in addition to the learning environment, it's a place where students can be themselves, can find friendships, can find brothers for a lifetime, and have a lot of fun in the different activities and the experiences that they have. The spirit and the pride here at the school, and I think you experience it when you visit, when you spend a day in the life of Marquette High, is just so alive and well. It's something that's contagious as you enter and are part of the good work that takes place every day. We have a number of different, as a large high school, a number of different co-curricular opportunities for your sons. We offer 17 plus sports that are available to your sons. Every season, there are athletic opportunities that are no-cut opportunities. So sports is available to every student every season in the school year. In addition to athletics, we have a number of co-curricular activities. Some of those co-curriculars are based on the special interests of the students. Others are based on the arts. Others are based on some specific academic areas, such as the STEM area, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Co-curriculars are a place really for students just to have a lot of fun, a place for students to meet new friends. We encourage our students, our young men, to be open to growth, to try things that they perhaps have not tried and experienced before. It's a place for them to develop their interests as they are prepared for college, and then consider different career opportunities. And of course, it's a place where our young men develop their leadership skills. So as a community, there's just a sense of Marquette High being a very special place where everyone is here and belongs and has a sense of being valued by the faculty and staff and by one another. And I would share that really that culture of care that exists is owned by the students. It's something that really is led by our older students, and it trickles down to the younger students. So from day one of your son's experience here at Marquette High, they will feel the love, they will feel the brotherhood, they will feel the sense of community that exists here at Marquette High. And we're just elated that your son will be a part of this school and all that it has to offer. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to John, and I know that there are some different areas that we'll want to talk about more based on the questions that have been submitted.
Thanks, Jeff. And I do encourage you parents to go ahead and type any questions that you are having into the Q&A, and we'll get started here. So this first question I'm going to ask you both to respond, and Father Marco, we can start with you. But let's talk a little bit more about that all-boy environment at Marquette High School, and what do you see as the benefits of an all-boy school?
Yeah, thanks, John. I get this question a lot in terms of, the all boy environment. Is that a good thing? And, my initial response to that when I get that question is, if you look at providing a Catholic education for as many kids as possible and as families who want a good quality Catholic education, whether it's in Milwaukee or any other, urban environment, it's critically important, I think, to have viable options in both single sex opportunities and co-ed opportunities, because different kids are going to thrive in different environments. So I think it's really important to have really solid options in both sort of ways of educating. That being said, I personally find the all male environment a very positive thing. I've had the pleasure, the good fortune of working at both a co-ed Jesuit institution as well as a number of single sex all boys Jesuit institutions. And the difference in the single sex environment, all these institutions are academically wonderful, right? They do great things and they provide great opportunities and they thrive. But the difference, or the real benefit, I think, for the all male environment really resides in kind of extracurricular participation. When you look at what the students get involved in beyond their academics, and in a co-ed institution, it's been my experience, where they really do limit themselves and kind of fall into gender stereotypical things, where boys in a co-ed institution, again, in my experience at Jesuit High School in Akron, Ohio, they got involved in sports and maybe student government and, maybe some of these other things that felt more sort of masculine, right? But they didn't get involved in theater. They didn't get involved in music. They didn't get involved in retreat leadership or campus ministry opportunities. They really did define themselves sort of along those things, where at an all boys school, if we're going to have student led retreats, it's going to be the boys that do it. If we're going to have theater productions that are going to happen, it's going to be the boys that do it. And there is a really big difference there. And Jeff spoke to this in terms of the brotherhood, what happens throughout their 4 years here by getting involved in all these things. And again, Jeff mentioned the Kairos retreat in particular. The ability to show affection for one another is amazing. And I'm not sure that happens quite so easily or quite so freely in a co-educational institution. If you go to a mass at Marquette High, whether it's an all-school mass or the Thursday liturgy, the sign of peace takes 10, 15 minutes, because it is this hug after hug after hug that these boys have no difficulty expressing that affection. That doesn't necessarily happen, I think, in a co-educational institution. And the brotherhood that helps create, I can't tell you how many alumni I've talked to talk about the best friends in their lives continue to be the young men they went to high school with. And I don't care if that's in 1950, 1970, or 1980, or 2000. These are significant relationships in their life, and they wouldn't trade it for anything. And I think part of that is because of the all-male environment. And I think we create young men who are able to show emotion and accept and share really significant emotional responses to one another that I think is significant. So again, I'm more than happy to answer other questions that might surface from that, but I think there's a real value there.
The only thing that I think I would add to Father Marco's response to the question regarding an all-male environment is really the openness that our students have to taking risks, whether those risks are academic risks or social risks. They're open to testing new waters and trying new experiences, and perhaps they would not be open to those types of things if they were in a co-ed environment where they felt perhaps judged for trying something different than what they've experienced in the past. So I think we can see from our own young men here at the school that true growth comes from taking risks. And sometimes with those risks comes failure, but through that failure, students draw from the brotherhood and the care that's shown to one another, and knowing that whatever we do together, and we can share in one another's victories as well as share in one another's perhaps mistakes or failings as well as defeats.
Thank you, Jeff. I want to follow up with a question for you. We do have a reputation as a school of being an academically challenging school, as a college prep school, and so I do hear from parents just wondering about that level of challenge for their son, and will their son be ready for it? No doubt middle school education is a challenging time, and certainly COVID has interrupted that for students. And so, the question is, how do we support students who need some extra support, and specifically academically, so that they can continue to thrive in the environment at Marquette High?
Absolutely, and it's a great question, and I love having conversation around the issue of challenges, academic challenges and other challenges in high school, and how that leads well to a person being well prepared for the demands of higher education. So, in this environment, students are stretched. They have the opportunity to be in classes where they are allowed to grow and learn and be pushed. That's what we're really about. But I couple the issue of being challenged with really the sense of care that's provided by the teachers. Teachers really want to meet students where they are, and then bring them forward and help them reach their own personal potentials. I mean, that's the mission. That's the goal, is to see that we're working with students and recognizing that, yes, to be at Marquette High means to work hard. It also means to have a lot of fun with one another, but work ethic is a part of the experience here. We see that students in the building, when they're in classes, they're engaged, they're focused. When you enter a classroom, you see hands raised, you see teachers interacting with their students, you see students in group projects interacting with one another, you see learning happening. In some ways, as we have visitors to the building, they describe the environment as very similar to what you would experience on a college campus. Students taking stock in and ownership in their education. And I think that's the exact type of an environment where we as parents would want to send our sons and daughters to experience that type of an environment. We mentioned before the support that's offered, and the support comes in a number of ways. Academically, it begins with the student's teachers, to see that if a student is grappling with a particular concept in class, that teacher will reach out to the student and help the student advocate for himself in coming forward with questions, and then setting up the time to assist that student in learning the material, or really achieving the academic goal that the teacher has placed in front of each young man. Begins with the teachers. Second, the support is offered through the advisors. All of our students have individual advisors. They meet frequently throughout the course of the year with their academic advisors. Their academic advisors are there to support the students, to guide the students, to assist them in ways that they are able to connect them to the different areas of support that are offered in the school. We offer for freshmen and sophomores a program, it's called Academic Support, that instead of students reporting to their assigned study hall in freshman year in particular, they would report to our Academic Success Center and meet with a teacher who has 6 other young men working with them, as well as members of our Jesuit Honor Society, older students that are there to serve as peer tutors. So students receive the support from their academic support teachers and from those that staff our Academic Success Center. We have an excellent counseling team, counselors that are here to assist your sons, whether that assistance come in the way of academic struggle or perhaps social emotional struggle. Our counselors are there to support the young men here at the school. And then finally, we have an outstanding college counseling team. Counselors who are present to our students as they understand the different steps that they will take to be prepared for higher education. So the levels of support are there for the students. The academic challenges, no doubt, are there. I think you would expect your sons to come home with a heavy book bag full of books and some responsibility for independent learning outside of the school. So engagement occurs during the school day, and independent learning will come in the way of homework. But again, it's all there to really equip your sons so that they are so well prepared, not only to be admitted to college, but then to succeed in college. And the feedback that we receive from our alums is that they are so well prepared, particularly as they compare themselves to the peers that they're in universities with and have the experiences of understanding what it takes to be a successful student in the courses that they take.
We've received a couple questions, and I'll ask this for both of you to respond to. But some parents who have sons who may be the only ones from their grade school who would be attending Marquette High School, and other parents who just recognize that their sons are more introverted and coming into from a smaller school into a bigger school like Marquette High School. And so I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about how we help students navigate that, particularly our freshmen. What are those supports we have in place to help that freshman transition into high school so that they're making friends, meeting people, and getting acclimated to life at Marquette High?
Jeff, maybe I'll jump in real quick, and then you can get maybe more specific with some of the programming. But I think that's a really important thing for us to be aware of at the get-go, which is why I think we really encourage participation in some of our summer programming, and we can get into more specifics with that, so that your son, especially if he's the only one from his grade school, can spend some of the summertime interacting with some of his classmates, so that when August rolls around, he's already established some relationships and can kind of hit the ground running, so to speak. I think we're very intentional at the beginning of the year with our Big Brother program in terms of freshman orientation and just making sure that they have just a huge, positive, fun experience those first few days where it's just the freshmen and their big brothers in the building to really create that momentum and excitement about the year. And again, what we offer for parents of freshmen is Jeff and I will meet early on in the semester for coffees with parents of freshmen to really tap into how is your son doing early on in that transition. And if there are any issues that surface in those conversations, we can address them right away. Fortunately, our experience for those has been he's having a great time. You know, he's loving it. He's doing well. He's meeting people, and that's a positive. But it gives us an opportunity to give you, as a parent, an opportunity to surface. Well, he's eating lunch alone, or he's just not finding his place. For us to really address that at the get-go, so that we can do everything we can to really minimize some of those transitional difficulties. So it's an intentional thing on our part to make sure that those young men feel loved and welcomed and a part of the community out of the gate.
It's also important for them to recognize that they're not alone. You know, every year we have around 50 students that will be the sole representatives from their grade schools where they matriculate from. And so we are very intentional about seeing that students are getting involved early. And as Father Marco stated, a prime opportunity to begin the Market High experiences through summer programming. We have a number of different programs that are based on students' interests. We have a summer school program as well as an academic boot camp. And all of those are really meant to see that students are getting to know one another. They're getting to know the teachers that they'll be working with, the coaches that they'll be working with, as well as the campus itself. So it's an opportunity for them to have some early connections. As students begin in freshman year, we have several activities that are planned to break down the boundaries that sometimes exist in freshman year, at the beginning of freshman year. So we'll have a freshman cup day where teams of students will come together, and there are a number of different activities that are led by our big brothers. Freshman retreat is an amazing experience for our freshmen as they get to know one another on a deeper level. And there are other opportunities where students that may come from schools or that are not necessarily well represented here at Market High, there are opportunities for those students to get involved and to get involved early.
So we have started scratching the surface when it comes to that whole freshman transition, and really this semester becomes part of that onboarding process for both the parents and the students, the 8th graders, as they're preparing for high school. So we've addressed some of the summer programming, and you will get more information about that and details about that as we go through the process. But I'm wondering, just to name one other part of that freshman transition, is that orientation part. So before the school year even starts, there are 2 days of freshman orientation. Jeff, could you just share a little bit of the purpose of those orientation days?
Sure. So there are 2 days, as John mentioned, of freshman orientation. The days begin by the students being greeted by the big brothers. They spend time in their freshman advising groups, those small groups, typically around 10 students, 10 freshmen in an advising group led by 2 big brothers and a faculty advisor. There's some community building that they engage in, as well as some transitional issues that they learn about moving from middle school to high school. We give them an opportunity to take tours of the building. We have them report to their classes, so they get to meet their teachers and get to meet their new classmates. And then we have some whole class community building opportunities in our gym and on Tacton Field. It's really an engaging, fun couple of days where students get an opportunity to experience all the great things that they will experience during the 4 years. And we want really for them to just become oriented to the life of the school and to get to know one another. It's also an opportunity, as I mentioned, for them to meet the great team of faculty members that are here to serve them and work with them.
Thanks. There is a question here too, just about transportation and carpooling to Marquette High School. So I'll share just a little bit about how that works, and certainly am happy to discuss further on an individual basis. But you may have noticed, if you filled out your intent to enroll form in school admin, that one of the questions we're going to ask you is if you're interested in carpooling and finding out more about our carpool system. And so by checking yes for that question, you're opting into getting more information about carpooling. And so basically the way that it works is, all of the families at Marquette High School who have opted into that carpooling information, we have kind of a module on our website in which all the addresses of all those families who are opting into carpooling are placed on the map. And so you are then given credentials to be able to log in and see the map of all of the Marquette High School families that would be in your neighborhood, in your zip code, so that you could coordinate carpools with those other Marquette High families. It may be hard to imagine if your 8th grader is your oldest child, but remember, we have juniors and seniors who are driving themselves to school every day. And so it's great when that works out to be able to partner with an older student who is coming to school anyways. Otherwise, our families all want to be able to support each other in getting their kids to and from Marquette High School, getting kids to and from high school, or to and from different activities. And so we do view it as kind of a shared responsibility to support families. And remember, as it was addressed, you know, students from all over southeastern Wisconsin are coming to Marquette High School. That's every neighborhood in the city of Milwaukee and every suburb, every surrounding suburb to Milwaukee. So there are students coming to Marquette High School in your neighborhood. And so if you're interested in that, then you check yes on that intent to enroll form. The other thing that I like just to make aware for folks, because it can be different from grade school and middle school, is our building has generous hours for students to be able to come to the building. So the building opens at 6 a.m. Every morning. And so if there's ever an early meeting for a parent to get to, you can drop your son off early. As early as 6 a.m. He can have breakfast. He can have a quiet place to do some work before classes. And the building generally remains open until 6 p.m. or sometimes later when there's activities. And so there are quiet places for the boys to go after classes if they're waiting for a ride. So there is additional flexibility when it comes to dropping your son off and picking your son up after school. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff again with a question. And we've certainly addressed, you know, the academic challenge that is Marquette High School, the work ethic and work expectations that come along at Marquette High. And could you share just a little bit about what is it like to be at Marquette High in terms of fun? How do our students have fun at Marquette High?
Sure, I'd love to. First of all, I begin by stating that a lot of fun occurs in the classes. You know, there's a lot of exchange that occurs with the teachers and the students in the classroom. They really enjoy one another. The teachers are passionate about the students that they teach, as well as the subject matter that they bring to the students. Students have fun during the course of the day. We have a homeroom period in the middle of the morning, 4 days a week. It's a place where students go based on their special interests. We have a number of different clubs and organizations that form homerooms, and students sign up for the homerooms based on their own areas of interest. And it's a place where they are able to work on projects. They are able to work together. You know, for example, we have an esports homeroom where the students are learning about the latest video games and are able to challenge one another and play games with one another. So we have homeroom as a place in the middle of the school day where in the middle of the morning where students are able to have a lot of fun. During lunchtime, we have an excellent food service program, and the students are able to really interact with one another during their lunch period. But then during lunch, we also offer intramurals. So students form teams based on the different activities that are offered throughout this course of the year. They form these teams. We help students create the teams, and they participate in the fun of intramurals. And then after school hours is when the real fun kicks in, and that is in the area of co-curriculars, the teams, the different plays, the theatrical productions, the musical performances, the specific co-curricular clubs and activities that we have that are offered to students. Those groups meet after school hours, and your sons are encouraged to get involved early, and to enjoy all that Marquette High has to offer in the way of co-curricular activities. I'm sure I missed some of the fun that takes place. You know, we also have some all-school assemblies and pep rallies and some other events
Jeff,
where students come together, dances and
I just jump in
sporting
here.
events. Yeah.
I just jump in here and say, and again, this is not anything specific, but there's no shortage of laughter at Marquette High, in the hallways of Marquette High. Our student government conclave is the official title of it, but our student government leaders provide all kinds of opportunities to engage in fun and different activities. It's there's a lot of laughter that takes place on a daily basis at Market High for sure.
The questions were coming in fast here, so I want to address this one. And Jeff, if you could share a little bit about college counseling and maybe the approach of how we counsel students towards thinking about college. And I want to highlight too, we just had that Young Alumni College Fair. That was a pretty exciting event for us. And then what about students who maybe don't fit the profile of a four-year college, and how do we approach those students?
I mentioned before that we have a college counseling team. It includes 5 individuals in the team. Some of the activities that are planned for students begin freshman year and progress throughout the 4 years or the 3 remaining years. You know, clearly the more intense part of the college application process is going to take place beginning in the second semester of junior year and first semester of senior year. But we really want to not wait until then before students understand what steps are taken in this college admissions process. And that's what our team is there for, to work with the students. That it begins with students learning about a platform that we use. It's called SCORE. It's a platform where students begin to follow colleges and universities that they may have an interest in. It's a place where they can participate in some self-assessment tools to explore their areas of academic interest and perhaps career interest. So it's a way for students to understand where their strengths, where their interests are, and to be supported in that by the college counseling team as well as by the faculty. Not all of our students attend 4-year colleges and universities. We have had students who have entered 2-year trade schools as well as the armed forces. And so we have had opportunities for students to learn more about those options and those opportunities as well. Some of the students who have considered early on 2-year universities or 2-year colleges, we have them matched up with those that have more specific expertise in different trade areas. I will say though that a vast majority of our students will matriculate from high school to a 4-year university.
There are several questions about financial aid. And so I want to try and give a brief overview here, and then we'll wrap it up. So I'll ask Mike and Jeff for some concluding comments. But just to address financial aid, if you have already applied for financial aid, and that's by filling out the FAIR app, then you can expect to hear from my office next week. So that's my responsibility to get that message out to you. You'll receive an email, whichever email you used when you filled out the financial aid application. We will be using that email to relay that information next week. So you will have that specific information in your inbox next week to know where you stand in terms of financial aid. There are a couple questions about the Choice program. We do participate in the Milwaukee Parental Choice program. We are in touch with families in the month of February because that is the time for those families to be applying for choice. So we will send reminders to those families about submitting their choice applications. Again, that's in February. If for whatever reason you have not applied for financial aid, I still encourage you to do that. Of course, this initial round of folks are going to hear next week. If you're applying now, you wouldn't hear about financial aid next week. But I encourage you to still do that and use the FAIR app. There are links to that and information about that on our website, or you can certainly reach out to us to get that specific information. So at this point, I think we are going to offer some concluding comments. Father Marco, maybe you could start, and then Jeff, offer your wrap up.
Yeah, thanks, John. And let me just echo John's comments on financial aid. You know, it's idealistic, and I realize that, but certainly it's my desire and I work very hard at trying to make sure that finances are not the reason a family does not come to Market High. Now, sometimes it's just not the reality, but we do everything we can to try to make it work for our families, because if a family desires this, what I consider a wonderful experience, we want to do everything we can to make it a possibility. So as John said, if you haven't yet applied and you're considering it, please do. And we'll do what we can to try to make it work. Again, finances should not be the reason a young man doesn't get the Market High experience. So with that said, I'm not sure I have any great thoughts as we conclude the evening, other than to just simply say, I think what we do here at Market High is a wonderful thing. And I think our families that are currently here would attest to what great things happen in the hallways on a daily basis here. We have an outstanding faculty and staff, people who are absolutely mission committed, do everything they can to serve the young men entrusted to our care. They love what they do. This is a special place. And as I said at the start, I know I'm not objective in that, and so take it for what it's worth. But it's a great place. It's a great Jesuit Catholic institution, and I'm proud to lead it. And I hope that you will join us soon and experience all that we have to offer. So thanks again for joining us this evening, and God bless.
Thank you, Father Marco. I'd like to echo the thanks for your interest in Market High, in having your son apply for admission. I congratulate your sons for being admitted to Market High and being a part of the tradition of Marquette University High School. I think choosing a high school for your son or daughter is probably the most important educational decision that a parent can make. You create a foundation that is established that will enable a student to be successful in college and then beyond college in work life and in family life and in parish life. So really considering carefully the different educational options and recognizing the importance of this decision, I really commend you for considering Market High in that process. I also, I know that there are probably some 8th graders that are tuning in as well to our webinar today. And I just, one of the things that I sometimes hear from 8th graders is, gosh, I'm not sure Market High is the right place because my friends will be going to other schools. And I want to assure you that that we really care for you. We really see that you're having a great experience socially. You're going to soon find that you're going to meet great friends, not only great friends during your freshman year and all 4 years, but friends that you make for your lifetime. And when we talk to our students who are maybe a little bit hesitant about coming to Market High because their friends were not coming to Market High, every single student kind of looks back and is so grateful that the decision was made to go to Market High, in recognizing that the friends that were really important in middle school remain important, but the friends in high school and the brothers that are made here at Market High are brothers for a lifetime. So I just want to encourage you to be open-minded about the great opportunities that you'll have and the friendships that you'll establish while in high school. And with that, I want to thank everyone for spending the time with us this evening, and thank you for the important decision, for making the important decision that lies ahead for your son's future.
Thank you, Jeff and Mike, for your words of encouragement and wisdom and sharing all of your experience. You are tremendous leaders for the Market High community. I'm going to wrap up with just a couple of final reminders and announcements for the class of 2027. So that intent to enroll form, that deadline is January 31st. We want to hear back from you by January 31st. And so you're going to your school admin portal to be able to complete that intent to enroll form. As I mentioned, the financial aid emails and awards will be sent out next week. Thank you for your patience as we've been processing through those. Our next meeting time, we are planning an in-person meeting on Thursday, February 9th. That's a time for both parents and students to be coming to Marquette High School. We're going to welcome you and then talk through some of the specifics around course selection. And so we will see you on February 9th in person. We are having an event on Friday, January 27th at our varsity basketball game. It's a big game against Tosa East. We're going to be serving pizzas beforehand. So we do ask that you register in advance. There's no cost, however. So we want to invite you. It's going to be our treat, the pizza dinner, and then we will get you into the game for free. But we do want you to register in advance so we have enough pizzas for you. So look forward to seeing you potentially at the basketball game on the 27th. Or certainly at our in-person meeting on February 9th when we discuss course selection. Thank you all for being with us this evening. If you did ask a question that wasn't addressed, I will be sure to follow up with you tomorrow or in the coming days to make sure that your question is being answered. So thanks again for being with us this evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.